I'm just saying shit. All right, hit fucking record.
Oh, I did. I was done waiting for you to get your fucking video game ready so you can watch sports. Is anyone else hired up for sports that they're down to watch like video game sports?
No. I'm actually doing all right without it. Like it's to the point where now I won't even listen to sports podcasts because if they're not going on, it's like I have no interest in hearing about what's going on in the midst of everything.
What's going on with your right arm? Are you rubbing one out?
No, it's like I'm trying to get. I don't want to be in the middle. Like I kind of want to be off to the side there so you can see the earth in the background. Like fucking Superman. What's wrong with your arm?
Mine? I feel like they're both good.
The show? Should we tell people that we're? I don't know. Should we start the show?
I did. I've already hit record.
No, but don't we normally say something like "Welcome"? We are.
I don't know. I kind of like just jumping right into it.
Okay. Because, I think it's weird. I don't know.
I mean, we have the theme song, so once the theme song ends,
the old jumping.
You're listening to Four Men.
I mean, the theme song covers it multiple times. Da-na-na-na-na, 4 Men.
It's true. I forgot about the theme song.
How fucking dare you?
I mean, I didn't hear it just now, so I'm sorry.
Well, you're not, since this is just a recording.
So anyway,
watch The Crow. Jason Adriano was on our show. Highly recommend people watching. I guess you can still watch it. For a minute, I thought you could only watch it during the premiere.
Right.
But I think you can still go on the Facebook and still watch it if anyone.
How long is it?
It's a short, so it's what, like 10 minutes?
Nah, it was like 30.
30 minutes.
I think it's less than 30, but check it out if you like The Crow.
Yeah, I thought it seemed like it was more on the short end. I mean, I was expecting maybe like at least an hour to an hour and a half at the most. But yeah, it did seem like it was shorter than that.
Yeah, it's definitely short.
What do you just type it in the search bar, The Crow or something?
I would go to Facebook and go The Crow Fun Boy is the name of it.
Oh, there it is. Actually, at the top. All right.
Jason Drago. There might be a link on our Facebook. I'm not even sure.
I don't know if that was just for the premiere or whatnot.
I'm not even. I don't know about if the links still link. If that makes sense. So, how's everybody been doing? How's it out there in the world, Marcus? Going door to door.
Same old.
Yeah, how is it? I got myself into a conversation on Facebook, mostly out of boredom, about when things should start reopening. And it's been an interesting couple of days it's been going on, at least 2 days of conversating about that. Since you're actually a man on the streets pounding pavement every day, what's your take on this?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just another day in the office for me. Like I mentioned last episode, I'm actually liking the desolate solitude of everything. I mean, especially on my route, like not as much traffic, not as much people on Main Street milling about. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I'm enjoying the silence a little bit more during my route, but that's just me.
Do you whistle while you work? Are you like the happy mailman?
No, I don't know how to whistle. I've never learned how to whistle. I have these big ass lips, and I do not know how to whistle.
I don't think you sing.
I don't think it has to do with your lips.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I know how to whistle, but I can't fun whistle. I thought about while being quarantined, just learning how to do that, really loud, because that's just always fun.
Remember
you don't know how to spit either, do you?
I mean, I don't know who you've been talking to.
I mean, that's pretty basic. You might not be good at spitting for distance, but most people can spit something out.
Yeah. No, I'm not a distance You know, like I can make sure it don't like it like makes it past my face. You
Right.
know? Like, but I'm not like going like in a
It'd be
spittoon.
hilarious. I'm interested in this, like if somebody can't spit at all, like they eat something really terrible, or like they put something in their mouth and someone's like, I wiped my ass with that, and they're like, oh, I just gotta swallow it.
Do you not know how to go with extremes?
But if you
Give
don't,
like
don't
one
push,
example that is just like they put it in their mouth and they just didn't like it. Like that happens. You
but
hate
listen,
everything.
if you don't push the envelope, it's just everyday activity. You've got to, if you push it to the extreme,
People
you
are
can
like,
get to the
what the
absurd.
fuck is going on with this guy? Like, what's he doing wiping his ass and then putting shit like back in the fruit bowl?
Well, I also just read this article. There was this, a friend of mine sent me, there was this famous New York City theater critic on Broadway, and he lived in a hotel, and he never tipped anybody anything. Not the people who brought him the room service, not like, he lived there for years, not like at Christmas, here's $1, never gave anyone shit, right? It got to the point like he was also like, not like the most easygoing guy. He ever complained about everything. Got to the point once that a waiter pissed in his tea, and he drank it. And so the waiter told everyone else around the neighborhood, like who he never tips, like the other delivery guy, the people at the other restaurant. And they start watching this guy. And over and over, people are pissing in his tea. And no one's telling him. And people in the Broadway community, like they're getting bad reviews. And people are like, oh yeah, well, guess what? That guy drinks pee in his tea at the hotel. For years it's been going on. And then at one point, he's at this fancy restaurant and he gets pissed off at a waiter, the guy who's drinking the piss tea. And this guy who knows about it is at another table. And he overhears the guy get up and he's like, what's wrong with you? I can't get any tea as good as at my hotel. And the guy, like, who knew about it, like, fell out of his chair laughing because he knew this guy's been drinking piss for years. So I had just, my friend had just sent me that article, and that's where the example came from just now.
How are we supposed to feel about that? Like, are we supposed to be like, yeah, okay, if you personally think someone's doing you wrong, whether they are or not, you get to piss in their tea and it's socially acceptable nowadays?
Oh, no one should piss in tea. But you should also be nice and polite and tip your server and whatnot.
I mean, if you live there, it'd be like tipping your mom. Like, oh, hey, you made me dinner and washed my clothes again. Here's some money. Like, if you live in a hotel,
he doesn't own the hotel. He chose to live in a hotel.
Yeah,
doesn't mean it's not a hotel anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't
still
always
going
have
to the restaurant in the hotel. Just because he lives above it doesn't mean he doesn't have to tip.
I mean, should he be tipping every day?
He should be tipping every time they give him a service that requires a tip. If you get your haircut every day, you don't tip once every 7.
That adds up over time. Like,
yeah.
Well, then maybe he should live in an apartment.
I mean,
right? The money he's spending on the room is helping pay their salary.
Yeah.
Is he supposed to suck their dick also?
Yeah,
look,
that's a good point.
Let me tell you this: if I go to the same restaurant every day, I'm tipping every day. I'm not going to be like, I paid you once.
I'm sure he pays for all of his meals.
Yeah, but this
tipping thing has gone on long enough. Everyone's asking for tips for everything. I got to a conversation about tattoos and tipping tattoo artists. And they're like, oh, you have to tip them or they'll mess up your tattoo on purpose. It's like,
wait, what? Don't you tip them afterward?
So with that, do they own their do they own the parlor or are they renting?
I don't know.
So then if they, because I asked about this one time, and it was a guy that owned his parlor, and I was like, would you tip a tattoo artist? I'm like, well, does he own his parlor? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, no, I wouldn't tip you. I'm like, I'm paying you full price. You don't technically, you're not renting a space, and I'm not, and you're basically getting all the profit. So I'm like, why would I tip you? And then if someone was renting like a barber chair, kind of like a tattoo chair, then I might tip a little bit, but it wouldn't be anything significant.
So if your barber owns the business, you don't tip?
Are you sure about that, Chaz? Like, does
I
it
think
really
the
matter
idea is
whether
you
or
tip
not
for
they
a service
own or lease
for good
the
service.
building?
Well, so to me, okay, so all right, so that's
He doesn't know.
no, I'm saying that's yes. So that is contradictory to what I say because I do tip my barbers.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you're going for a tattoo. I mean, you're there for like what, hours or something? I don't have tattoos, so I don't know what it's like.
It depends on the tattoo that you're getting. I mean, it depends. It depends on that particular session.
Right. So if I'm paying like if I'm paying like say $500 for a session, to get a tattoo done, I'm not gonna tip you $20.
Well, that would only be. I mean, that's not even 10%. 10% would be 50. And what's the
Right?
going rate for tipping? 20% nowadays. So you'd have to tip another $100.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing that. So like, but versus like the barber chair, which is like on average, I don't know, like $20. So that's what, $2, $4 or something like that.
For 20%.
So I mean, like it's. So I mean, it's like it's. I mean, I'll give you like here's 25, right? And then so it's just so I'll do that. But then, but if I'm getting a tattoo and it's like $500, I'm not gonna tip you $50 to get that tattoo done. I just paid you $500 for your session. So,
Yeah. I think it's more circumstantial like that last thing you just said, Chaz. I think it depends more on that as far as tattoos than whether or not the guy's leasing or actually owns his studio or whatever.
So
right.
so let me ask you this, right? Because tattoo isn't the common. I mean, people get tattoos, but like, do any of us have tattoos?
Marcus
I
does.
do.
Nick, I would probably say it's probably harder to find someone that doesn't have a tattoo.
Yeah, but we don't have tattoos. So what I'm saying is, let's get
I
into
do.
it. Even people who do have tattoos, they probably eat at restaurants more than they get tattoos. What I'm saying is, let's go to like a more basic, because like I don't know the rule of tattoos, but I do know that if I go to a restaurant, they bring me my food, they're nice to me, I tip my server.
Do you always tip, no matter what?
Unless they really fuck up. And
I
I will
mean, like,
tell them they fucked up.
even if they just do a subpar job, they didn't technically fuck up, but they really weren't. There's some servers that are just they're amazing. But then there's certain servers that like you could tell they expect a tip no matter what, no matter how they are. And then there's servers that earn the tip. And I get that.
Some servers work harder than others. That's of course. Now, I remember this was 25 years ago, and I remember this to the day. You guys remember near where we lived, there was a place called Uno. It was a pizza place where you sit down. They had a salad bar, but it wasn't the Chicago chain pizzeria Uno. It was the one. It burned down, and they put a Tim Hortons in its place by the 400.
Yeah.
You guys remember that place?
Yeah.
But you would sit and
yeah.
It was almost like Pizza Hut, because there's a salad bar, and you'd order pizza, and they'd bring it out on one of those tall stands, and you'd share it with the whole family. They'd cut it for you, and they'd give you the first slice on your plate, and you'd eat it with your hands. But it's a sit down with plates pizza restaurant, not like to go. You hold it on the street pizza restaurant. So I was there with Lee, who grew up next door to me, and Rob Niederprum and Lee's friends, right? And they were older. They were taking us to a concert. This is before we went to see the Goo Goo Dolls when I was 13, right? And so we're there, and we've got time to eat before the concert, but the pizza takes forever, right? And we're like, all right, now we've been here like 40 minutes. Server, in that amount of time, we've finished our drinks. The server comes and brings out the pizza, walks away quick, and we're like, whoa, we want refills on these drinks, but he's gone. So we're sitting there. Wait, he didn't even cut the pizza. Wait, we don't even have plates to eat this pizza. There's just a metal stand holding a big extra large pizza, and we're like, he's coming back. He'll be right back. Minutes and minutes go by. And also, this restaurant is empty. There's maybe a two-top filled on the other side of the restaurant. We're like looking at the clock. All right, it's getting to the point. We're going to have to rush to eat this pizza if we're going to make it out of here to go to a concert in half an hour. So we start looking around. Okay, There's those clear bowl-like salad bowls on the salad bar. We'll take these. We'll put our pizza on these. All right, there's butter knives on this table over here. We'll use butter knives to cut the pizza. So anyway, it comes down to a tip, and they're like, fucking leave this guy for a tip. You got the order right, but we never even got plates. They left, I remember it was like, they definitely left an old Bazooka Joe gum from one of their purses with a little comic inside it. That was the tip. And I think maybe some pocket change. Does that server deserve more than that? Fuck no. But if a server comes, brings you your drinks, refills your drinks, brings you the right food, checks on you, not too much, but just to make sure you have what you need and is polite, I'm giving them 18% or more, because for some reason the minimum wage of servers is lower than the minimum wage for anyone else.
I didn't
make the rules.
Not out here.
Not in California?
No. There's some people like they now that I work in a restaurant / bar, people are like complaining about how much they're getting tipped. I'm like, aren't you making minimum wage? They're like, oh, there's a minimum wage. I'm like, well, yeah, I know, but in New York, they don't even make minimum wage. Like
right.
they definitely need those tips to live. You know,
it depends on the restaurant though too, because
also personally, I don't want to make it sound like I don't fucking tip, because I definitely tip.
It sounds like you don't tip.
Yeah, I was just asking.
You're playing devil's advocate.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, but like I do, and especially if I know I'm going to be there and I'm going to be a regular at some place.
You definitely tip, man.
I tip heavy right off the bat. If I'm going to be, and I'm like, if I really like a place, I'm like, there's a bar right around the corner from where I moved when I moved out here. I was tipping 50%. Boom, boom. And of course, and almost 50% sometimes. Just throwing money at them. Now the bartender hooked me up right away. We became friends. But still, like I was tipping him, and then everyone else just a lot. Now I go there, and it's like I don't even know if I see a bill for one drink. I'll have 10. You know, like you pay your way in. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to be there once, you could judge it all on the service. You know, and you usually, knock on wood, most servers are solid, and they care about.
It's a rare occasion if I get bad service. So, and usually if I do, it's because it's like an extremely busy night. But I haven't been in Nick's situation before. Well,
they didn't even bring you plates?
Yeah, I probably would have just left. I wouldn't have given anything.
I know, Shawn, you have a tipping story that you had.
Yeah, I was dating this girl. Her favorite restaurant.
Tip at least 15%.
Fuck.
Look,
at the very least.
In some states, the minimum wage for servers is like $2.50 an hour. That's crazy. Like the minimum wage for other jobs in the nation is $7.25. It's like, first of all, I think that's bullshit that it's so much lower than the minimum. It's like, fuck you. What the fuck is wrong with these people? But
I mean, you should be at least getting that. Yeah, I've gone to
federal minimum wage. You should be getting $7.25 or more. I've
gone to McDonald's where the people like give me better service than a server at a restaurant, and it's like that person would easily take the job, if it was minimum wage plus tips as a server, and actually crush it compared to the person that's, if the money was better. I went to this guy. He brought all the food all at the same time. Like me and the girl I was dating, we finished our drinks. Never saw him again. Like we brought like the appetizers, both our entrees, all at the same time. Didn't see him again. Oh, I think he brought the check with it, so we didn't see him again for the rest of the time. So check out. I'm like, 0 for tip. And girlfriend at the time's like, really? You're not gonna give him anything? I'm like, for what? For what? If I'm not gonna tip the people at fast food restaurants for just basically handing me my food, I'm not going to tip this guy.
If all they did was hand you your food, that's the minimum, right?
The
minimum is bringing you your food.
You should tip at the very least 15%.
Do you, Marcus? Do you tip on? Do you tip
if they bring the right food, if they bring you the wrong food and never come back?
Marcus, is this the new Marcus or the Marcus that used to bail on and when the bill came?
I never did that, so I don't know what the hell you're alluding to.
You did. No, actually, you wouldn't pay when we would go shoot pool, and then you would give money. You'd pay when we'd go to Denny's afterwards, and then you'd be like, "Well, I didn't have money for both."
Wasn't it the opposite?
No.
No, you would skip the money on the first thing so you could make sure you had money for the second thing. Because if not, everyone would be like, well, then you just don't get any. What the fuck?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Well, the second thing was always, Denny's.
Denny's.
I mean, the thing was like everyone knew after like the third week. We're like, well, we know this is a thing, and like we're just like, all right, who's paying for Marcus this time?
Yeah, but remember though, like
that only happened like once, maybe twice at the most.
You used to dip off to the bathroom when we'd go pay for pool and turn those balls in. It felt like every time. And no, that is saying a lot because we used to shoot pool every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? It was like almost 2-3 times a week. That was what we did during the winter time.
Basically that's all there was to do for us at that time.
But we would always go to Denny's on Ridge. But remember, we had that one friend that told us, I think it's probably actually 10 years ago now, that he would take the money to pay and we'd have the tip in it, and then he would take the tip and just pay.
Oh, he didn't exactly tell us that. We found out on our own.
How? Wait. I thought he told us. What did he do?
I brought that up.
We found out what the hell he was doing.
Yeah.
How did you find out?
I don't even know. It was basically, so for those of you who don't know, say there's 4 of us. Say there's 4, like us 4. We'll use me as the example of the friend that we're talking about. The bill would be like $32, and we all pretty much ordered a drink and a meal. Nothing too extravagant. So Chaz would throw 10 in, Nick would throw 10 in, Marcus would throw 10 in. It's plus tip. So if I threw in 10, we'd give them $40. So it was like an $8 tip. And we were kids. We didn't have money. So that was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I would after you guys would pay, I'd go, all right, I would always be the last one to pay. And then I wouldn't pay. I would give the $2 instead of another 10. So basically, you
would just top it off.
Yes.
And so the tip would be paying for your meal because apparently you walked up to the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
shitty.
Yeah. And the thing is, we were going all the time. And we thought we were tipping these servers well.
Yeah,
and we thought we were friends with them.
Oh, man, they saw us walking in and we're like, oh, these fucking guys.
They might have been the ones
and meanwhile,
that
we're like,
us.
hey, we're the big tippers, 22% every time.
They may have been the one that led us on. They're like, hey, you guys don't tip for shit. And I was like, come on, man. I'm like $32 plus, I'm like, what's 20%
at one point, our friend dated a woman who worked there, so she probably told us, right?
No, she wasn't. She wasn't there when we were doing it.
No. It was before.
Are you sure? Because that's how they met.
Yeah, because he changed his ways. The friend and subject, he changed his ways when he.
Why are we just not saying his fucking name? Who cares?
All right, he ain't gonna listen to this podcast. So Andy fucking changed his ways when he started dating Elaine.
I was just being nice. Just in case anybody hasn't heard this story. But,
it's an old story. He changed his ways when he started. But the thing that always pissed me off is we would be at a restaurant all knowing how to do this. And, like, in front of his girl, he'd be like, now, guys, remember, this is how you – they're telling us how to fucking tip. I was like, who the fuck are you, man?
Exactly.
Tipping the whole time.
And I'm like –
the whole time.
I'm like, we basically, so this late, so we're at Denny's and it's like 3 a.m. and the one lady that is helping us out, giving us our food, there's usually at least 4 of us.
Right.
So, right. And we were like under 21. So we weren't drinking at the time.
So we're obnoxious.
Exactly.
We're not rude or causing too much problems, but we're being obnoxious and shit.
Oh, we're loud. We're clowning around,
Exactly. And we tip very decently. Like we tip, we tip very well. And so we thought, but then now we're hearing this, and I'm kind of thinking I'm like, they must think we're absolute assholes,
dude.
Like the worst.
The worst.
What the fuck? Oh man.
We were the biggest assholes, and we thought we were all cool with them. It's like,
we were so polite to them, and they knew our names. They probably knew our names because we're on like an idiots who don't tip list instead of like regular good customers list.
Can you imagine? Someone had their food spit on. I guarantee it.
Obviously.
I mean, there were times where we'd go there and there'd be like 8 of us. Remember that time that there was 8 of us? Now, I used to have this habit where I'd chew on my straw.
Yep.
I would just sit there and chew on it. They go grab all of our drinks, bring them all back. Looks like, everything's set. Our buddy Jim is drinking. He's like, the fuck with this poor suction on my cup? Pulls out. It was my straw that I had been chewing on. And he fucking, they put it in his cup, but they put it upside down so it looked like a brand new fucking straw.
So they refilled it, and then they brought it back with the same straws and gave it to the wrong people.
Oh, yeah. So we were all drinking someone else's fucking straw. I mean, which is, at the time, it was whatever. But if this during the pandemic happened, I'd be losing my mind.
We only know because you chewed on your straw. How many times do you guys think in restaurants we've gotten the wrong glass back and drank through someone else's straw? It's probably a lot.
Probably.
I mean, I don't know. I was getting refills every 45 seconds.
Yours was probably yours. It was probably yours. But when they take 2 or 3 at a time,
she would put Marcus's down.
Marcus, I remember we went to eat, and Marcus, we sat down, and Marcus orders a drink, and the waitress is like, okay, well, I'll come back, and then I'll take your order to give you time to think. And she comes back, and Mark, literally in 2 minutes, and Marcus downed his large 7-Up, and he's like, I need another one. And she's like, and then she's like, okay, so he gets another one, downs it again. And I'm like, Marcus, we haven't even eaten yet. I'm like, slow down. He's like, I'm just so goddamn thirsty.
Half of us didn't even order a drink yet.
Yeah.
He would walk in and be like order as we're walking to sit down. They would have it. He'd finish it. Go, I need another. Before she could finish her spiel, okay. The first couple times to a new waitress, it's amazing. If you get a chance to see it, absolutely amazing. Just the shock of another. Okay, bring it over.
It's not a small glass either. It's one of those big, large ones.
It's your average 16 ounce.
Didn't they just start giving you those small pitchers after a while?
Yeah,
they'll just give you a personal craft that used to be shared amongst the family. Family of 4? Here, you should order this carafe. Oh, Marcus? Yeah.
But then he would drink that, so he would have that, and then he would order, I swear, a meal for 4, and then he would. Then I probably wouldn't finish it. Then I probably wouldn't finish mine. He would eat mine, and still he would then, at the end of us eating, he would have had 7 drinks, food, half of my food. Yeah. And
tell them how you order now, Marcus. Tell them how you order food now.
It's really not that much different.
He orders 2 entrees, completely different from each other, and he will eat them both.
You call that a bang, right? You go to 2 orders.
Yeah, those were the days. Your boy was eating good.
Yeah.
It still amazed me. It amazed me to no end. And it's the most spectacular thing I've ever seen. One of the most.
Let me ask you, you're a server at a restaurant. Some guy wants constant refills of drinks, 2 entrees, and he doesn't tip. What do you think of that guy?
Right.
I know you've got the fucking money. You ordered 2 meals.
That's right. Right.
If you didn't tip, because you didn't tip and you were ordering all those refills in the 2 meals, someone spit in your food at some point.
Oh, I guarantee it. That's what I'm saying. I guarantee it. When I heard that
never,
a whole bunch of
happened.
When we say that we went there a lot, it's almost it's an understatement. We went there probably
once a week during the school year. at least twice a week in the summer. Maybe.
Oh no, when you went off to
like
college, Nick.
Year.
Yeah, we were Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're shooting pool. Definitely every Friday, Saturday. Definitely we shot pool and then we swung by Denny's.
Yeah.
For like 4 months, 5 months in a row. Because there's nothing else to do in the wintertime other than like play. And we didn't feel like hanging out playing video games, so we went and did that.
Right. And Andy would never invite us to any other parties he fucking went to, so we had to fend for ourselves.
Well, at least he didn't go all the time. So maybe they noticed a pattern that every time Andy wasn't there, you guys would actually tip very well.
You think they noticed the pattern? They were like, "Oh, that one's with them."
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how observant they are, but I mean, there had to be some sort of.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like your regulars, you're going 3 nights a week, and then they'd notice that like 1 out of the 3, there's a new guy there, and that's the night you don't tip, and he's the guy who brings it up. Yeah, and that's probably how they noticed to tell you, hey, just so you guys know, that guy's taking the tip and not giving it to the servers.
If he told, I don't know how pissed I would have. I don't know how pissed off I would have been.
I wasn't there when it was disclosed.
It was like a random conversation, I think, and it was like somewhere in like I don't know, like 2010 or something like that. That's when
2010.
Yeah.
No, that's when Chaz found out about it.
That's when I found out about it. That's when I found out.
I'm like, oh my god, how much did I need?
Chaz, what do you feel like talking about? How's D&D going, Chaz?
D&D is going great, actually. The virtual stuff is phenomenal. It works actually really well.
You got something on your screen, Chaz, and I thought it was on my computer.
Is it?
Nick, do you see that?
Right here?
Yeah.
Is it the spider web on the wall?
No, it's hold on.
Over here trying to wipe it off my computer screen. I just spilled something.
What is it?
It's a just like
a stick?
Yeah, it's just like one of those decorative branches things.
It's a fucking stick, Chaz.
You might want to tell people because I thought it was a spider web. I thought you were in your basement. Where are you?
I'm in my family room.
You have exposed, like, are you doing work in the room behind you? There's like exposed ceiling in there. Like,
what are you talking about?
Beams.
Oh, here? That's the laundry room.
Oh, okay.
This is the laundry room right here.
Yeah,
that's the laundry room.
I see it now.
What
room is he in?
For all those watching, yes, we have lost Marcus. Zoom only allows 40 minutes of a podcast or of a recording. We're not making any income yet, so we can't upgrade just yet till have unlimited time. So we're started again, and we are just waiting for him to log back in. But we're not waiting because we decided to continue on with the podcast.
I had a good day the other day. I made some income. I won a couple of poker tournaments. So
nice.
How much do you make on those?
It depends how many people play.
Well,
but I made.
Would you walk away? Give some details, son.
Listen, I don't want the tax man watching this and coming after me, Chaz.
That's not gonna happen.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. They're always watching. That's exactly.
The
IRS, keywords. One bunny. Poker.
When this whole thing's over and 30% of the population's off unemployment, they're coming around.
Oh, I mean,
I'm just kidding.
If that, they're saying a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. That
later,
like they're like once everything starts to slowly reopen, it doesn't mean like no one's guaranteed a job back.
No, sure.
Right.
That's what I was trying to talk with someone about. Like, when do we reopen? I'm like, at some point. I've been really trying to pay attention to Sweden, and and that's what I was doing. And they were like, "You've been misinformed. Sweden's not doing it right." And they were posting like opinion pieces from CNN. I'm like, that's an opinion piece. I'm like, I can see how many people are fucking dead. There's about the same amount in California.
The problem is this, right? There's not this hasn't been done before, so we don't know what the right thing to do is. But the thing is this: the longer you wait, the more businesses are hurt. But if you do it too soon, then the entire lockdown was for nothing, because right now, if you look at all these curves, like they've barely started to come down. So it's like well, then we should have just opened a week ago. You know what I mean?
Well, no,
So,
like there's going to be a second wave.
right.
There's no way you plan around it. You know, the elderly, you leave them locked in, no visitors or anything like that. People with weak immune systems, same thing. They could stay on unemployment. But people that are healthy, like, the three of us, that like we could get back to work. Like, we're not going to be bringing it around. It's not as deadly. It's not as deadly as we all thought it might have been. And that's fine. What we did, pull back, wait to find out some facts, kind of see what Sweden's doing. People are going to die either way. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. It comes down to how many people are going to die, and it comes down to how much the healthcare system can handle the second wave. Now, if we just jump into the second wave while all these places are already still full, then all those people in the second wave are dead.
A lot of the hospitals they built, say in New York City, they built some stuff. They had the ship there. Ship's gone because they've caught up.
I don't know the numbers on how caught up it is. I don't know that.
Well, from what I was starting to see is that we're at the point where it's starting to flatten, like at the start of the flat. So it's up and it's like just at this like curve right here before it goes over like that. And right now, it was actually kind of a funny diagram that I saw, and it showed that, like, exactly what Shawn was saying is that when it starts to flatten out like this, people will think, oh, it wasn't too bad. And then you're saying like, oh, it wasn't really that terrible, as bad as it could have been. I mean, in all reality, you want to get to that point where people say that like it's not that bad because it wasn't that bad because we got to that point because of what we're doing. But it can get a whole lot worse if, like, say, like, a lot of the southern states are actually starting to come back and go back onto like where they're opening things up. And it could skyrocket. I mean, I already heard that, Georgia has 200 more new cases like immediately because of that. So it's one of the,
we don't know if it's because of it, but the point is,
I know that, but it's
soon because they're still increasing.
But yes, it's saying that it's basically saying it's too soon because it's basically saying like it's working and now everything's got to go back to normal. It's like, no, it's working. So keep doing it until things get back until
the curve comes down. Right now, the curve's still at the top.
Yes, exactly.
At some point,
until some of the pressure is relieved.
The pressure is relieved. People are. Here's the thing: we're all in lockdown. Thousands of people, hundreds of people are still getting it. Right. So if we slowly start opening up things that are more necessary, similar to what Sweden did.
Sweden didn't lock anything at all.
They did. Well, at first they didn't lock as much stuff, but then they did lock up like the elderly homes, things like that. Like they did make a mistake with that. They acknowledged it, and now they didn't. But like their death rate, it's not too far off of California's. In California, I think our governor is locking up parks and trails, like putting fences up so people can't actually sneak onto them. You get fined, possibly arrested if you're caught out in a park.
Okay.
That's, at what point is it, at what point can we say, yes, the government can arrest us, do whatever they want, and use the guise that, oh, no, it's for your own health, when the numbers aren't really showing that it's for our own health. When we could see a country that didn't do what we did, didn't do what anyone else did, yes, they have a little bit higher death rate, but it's not the millions of people that were predicted going to die.
Well, the problem is that people aren't taking it seriously, and the thing is that the reason for that is anybody can get it and anybody can die from it, and and if you do get it, even though you might survive, it still might fuck you up pretty bad, and that's the thing, and even more that I consider myself a fairly healthy human being, and I could be spreading it to like dozens of people without even knowing it, and even like with my wife, she's still going in and out because she's an essential worker that works out in a place, and she can be carrying it, and I don't even know that, and then I could be getting it, and I could be sending it to somebody, and I don't know that, and then it could reach to someone's grandmother, and then that's how they get it. So I mean,
right. Hence the blocking up the elderly, not being able to go into them. People with weak immune systems. If you had a weak immune system, like Sharon shouldn't be leaving the house, type of thing. There are precautions we can use based on the information we finally that we're getting in.
Right,
I think
but
it's
that
about
only
was it 0.1% of people may die from it.
I mean,
it's
something. You're
like
saying 0.1, like that's not even one person, but that's still thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
yeah,
but it's nothing saying that if what we're doing is going to work either.
But it is working. It is working. It is because if this wasn't happening, the hospitals would have been overrun weeks ago.
Oh, right.
Sure.
No, but you go from the hospitals to that. If the hospitals are all caught up right now, like say the hospitals in Houston, 50% of them, they're not even being used. So they haven't even been overrun. They haven't even been to that point. So I also brought up the one guy brought up New York City. He's like, oh, talk to my friends, people in New York City about the horrors that they see. Well, New York City is completely different from any other city. Apparently, this person disagreed. Like, we can't wait on New York City to be ready to reopen everything because, like Buffalo, New York, completely different worlds. New York City, you live on top of each other.
Yeah, but
Sean,
but
I don't know if you know this, but right now Buffalo their rate has gone up. It still hasn't come down. It's still going up.
Yeah.
So the Buffalo area, unfortunately, it seems like it might be okay if you're sitting in your house, but it's actually statistically too early because
for New York City,
rate is still going up.
Right, and for New York City is a hub, and so you're talking about people walking in and out, flying and all over the place, and connecting to all over the place.
Yeah, that's why I think New York City is completely different from any place else in this country.
But I know what you're saying, meaning that it's basically millions and millions of people on top of each other. Yeah. So with that, I mean, you're talking about the transmission of it being a lot higher there, and also being able to connect to other places very easily because it's a hub. So that's the thing that people are missing, is that they're not understanding of how easily this thing can transmit, and it's not like that's how fast it spread. That's why it's spread as fast as it did, is because it's easy to catch. So if people looked at it in that sort of fashion and how easy it is to catch and how serious it actually is, and that even though you might be 37, you could still die from it if you get it. If they looked at it from that way, then they would take it a lot seriously, and then they wouldn't complain that, oh, open up the store because I need to get my legs waxed or something like that.
Yeah, I know that's the best meme or whatever, the sign. I do find it funny. A lot of people that are very, very leftist at my Facebook page post those. These people seem to come off as Trump voters, that are protesting. And I know, like 2 years ago, everyone was saying, Trump is a dictator. He wants to be a dictator. He's trying to run the country. Now he has pretty much the power too, if he wanted to become a dictator. There's not, like, the way the government's locking people in, the way that it's becoming a little bit more of a police state for obvious reasons.
I mean, are you saying that Trump purposely did nothing in this so that he could get more power?
No, I'm just saying, I think it's funny that people will say we should, it's the Trump supporters who are saying that it's like an authoritarianism. This is the way the U.S. is supposed to be run. And the people who didn't vote for Trump, who hate Trump, who thought he was a dictator, think that everything's doing is fine and that it should be good. And then it's his supporters that are the ones protesting because they say it's a dictatorship type thing.
Yeah. I don't know what to do about that.
It's just an observation.
It is interesting.
I think it's because everyone's talking about, like, it's saying, I'm sorry, Nick, just give me a minute. Because everyone's talking about, like, oh, this is their chance to control the society. This is the chance to get, everyone under control and all that. No, the government if anything, wants everything back to normal as fast as possible.
Sure.
Because we are
Absolutely.
the product. We are a product. We are a product to be sold. We are a product to be and transferred and traded, because we generate a cash flow, and we can't generate cash flow if we aren't working. And they want us back working as soon as possible. And if anything, that will change, and this will bring a big light onto the United States and infrastructure, is that things are going to change. The normal isn't normal anymore. It's going to change, and that people just need to get with what's happening, and they can't you can't have it your way, and it's not going to work like that. And you have to listen to the experts, and usually that's not the person that's writing an opinion piece on a news article. So it's just people got to wake up, man.
My whole thinking, like, I don't like being locked down. I don't like this at all. But here's my thinking is, most people who are looking at curves and showing curves, they're showing new cases. They're not showing current cases. They're showing curves of new cases.
Yes.
And when they're saying, oh, it's coming down, you have less new cases. That means that in 2 weeks, those people might still have the virus. You have to compound how many people have had it and still have it. The curves I'm looking at, we're still at the top. We haven't come down. Like, we came down up a lip. Like, it's what it was like 3 days ago. So, like, it was shitty 3 days ago. So,
isn't everyone still using the subway and public transportation in New York City?
People are using the subway and public transportation. So essential workers are riding it to get to work, because, most people in New York City don't have cars. I have a friend, he went to work recently and he told me, he's like, it's basically just become essential workers and homeless people. So you got nurses and then a bunch of people shitting and pissing everywhere. So that's what I've heard. I wasn't on it. A nurse in my neighborhood, though, got jumped. She got off the subway. A bunch of guys grabbed her, mugged her, beat her up, took her money. And that's fucking bullshit. Like,
that's gonna happen. People are shitty like that.
People are shitty, but that sucks. Like, that really sucks. You like to think the best of people in certain times, but apparently.
But do you think the rest of this country should base everything off of how fast New York State or New York City opens up?
No. I think it should be based regionally, but I also think the people who are looking at these regions also need to consider everything. Yeah. Not just, we only got this many cases. Well, it's like, yeah, sure, but say you're in a shitty, you're not shitty, you're a city. Say you're in a city and people commute to that city from this small town that doesn't have a lot of cases. Are these people commuting in and out of New York City? Then what's that going to do to your numbers? The reason their numbers are so low is because they stopped commuting in and out of New York City. And that goes for every city and every hotspot, right? Places with the highest population have the most cases, and that makes sense. But they also, are people gonna, how do you lock down certain areas and not certain areas, right? That's what I want. Everyone's just like walking into the Michigan State House with their biggest guns they can find. They're like, open it. But it's like, okay, but what does that mean to reopen a certain area? Does that mean you put up a police checkpoint? Or is it honor system?
Right.
I don't know. Somebody talk to me about what that even means.
There was a city. I listened to this guy. He drove across country to do Joe Rogan's podcast, and he said he drove by a town that said no visitors. If you don't live here, you're not allowed in here. You're not even allowed to drive through. You're not allowed for anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I mean, I guess that is a possibility.
That is an option. I mean,
it is. Now, does that make more of a police state than what we're currently in?
Yes. I don't think we're in a police state.
I truly don't. I don't
think the government's really trying to
people out and locking people
take us all over.
It's martial law hasn't been called.
No. No, I don't.
When you start seeing Humvees rolling down your street, that's when you need to start worrying. But the call to action for the National Guard was just for nurses and stuff and shit like that. I was reading an article that they were.
You're formerly National Guard, formerly Army, for anyone listening.
Yeah. So like the inactive reserve was activated, but it was only for like nurses and medical staff. I was a military policeman, so if I get called back, that's when you need to worry. So if I post a picture on Facebook in a uniform, that means we're fucked. So
I don't even think that. I feel like if they call in the military police, like if they call you back in, it's not that we're fucked or going to a military style. I imagine people are starting to loot and violence is on the rise, and they need help controlling the crowds.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's.
That's a different type of fuck.
Yeah, sure.
But,
It's a different. It's still not ideal. I did read a thing, or one of the guys from the UN was saying that there might be another 130 million people die of starvation through this.
Yeah, I believe it.
The one guy, that might be a possibility. So, at some point, when do we start comparing and contrasting?
Right. It's a catch-22, right?
Yeah.
It's a catch-22. So, I mean, if you open everything back up, you risk the second wave and really kind of screwing us over. And if you don't, you're running the course of the next depression. So, I mean, it's
worse
crazy.
worse than a depression.
Well, yeah, worse than depression, but it's going to, it's which pick your poison type of thing. So it's.
Yeah.
I think if they do it I think there is an answer to doing this, but it's going to be,
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of policies that need to be put in place.
There's going to be a lot of policies.
It can't just be open it now.
No, it's the thing with opening things slowly. I don't think South Dakota ever really closed anything down.
No,
Texas,
but now their cases are on the rise.
Well, yeah, they're going to be on the rise. And when any of these states slowly, even when we start to slowly open up, the cases are going to go back on the rise. Now, to act like they're not going to is
there will be
foolish.
a second bump, but we need to keep that. It's
like we all
agree
market, that there's
right?
going to be a second wave, right?
Yeah,
we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Think of any stock you buy, right? Say I buy stock in Apple, right?
Who has money to buy stock?
I mean,
if I had money, I'd be buying it right now.
Money.
It depends how much the stock costs, right? So anyway, the point is, right, say you bought a stock before you are unemployment, right? And it was going up and up, and then it dropped a little bit, but it's still worth more than when you bought it. It's still good. There will be little
it's still good. It's still good until you sell it.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is it's still you still made money until it drops below.
Just because it's dipping a little bit, you don't cash
it. Doesn't mean
still kind of ride it out.
Look, if your town has 2 less cases than they did yesterday, that doesn't mean the curve is skyrocketing to the bottom and we're all done. Like people are talking. This one guy posted, my dad's. He's like my dad's Facebook friend. My dad posted like, "Hey, do you think we can open some counties sooner than others?" Like he said in a very broad sense. This guy was like, "We should reopen everything now because they want to double down." And the apocalypse didn't happen last month. Why are we doubling down? I'm like, doubling what? Doubling nothing. We're still on the first one.
Just keep doing what we've been doing.
Like it's not double yet until the curve's all the way down.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think we can continue doing what we were doing for
forever,
much longer. I mean, if June 1st comes and everyone's still the same amount of people are unemployed, or even more people are unemployed, we really got. I feel like we're gonna have to do at least something's got to be done. We're gonna have some. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's like the WHO, which has been wrong a lot. And then changed it, but they have changed their stuff. They were like, face mask, you don't need a face mask. And now they're like, you can wear a scarf, you can wear anything, but you have to wear something. It's like, all right, pick one. Now they're saying that maybe everyone should start looking towards the way Sweden was doing it, which would be nice. If they don't, because they won't have a second wave. Everyone's already been out. They're not going to have a second wave. They're going to have a high first wave, but they're probably not going to have a second wave.
But that all still depends on
right. Which no one will know till maybe October, December.
Right. But that all depends on if you have this disease, if you are immune in the future, which we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Right.
They don't know if there's any immunity to it yet.
They have
there is immunity to it.
No, they actually right now say there's no proof that there's immunity if you get it.
I'm pretty sure I thought they were testing people if they have if people have like a certain amount of antibodies inside their body, like
that means you had it doesn't mean you're immune to it.
Yeah, that's true. What Nick's saying is that's true, because they're saying that they don't know, just because you might have had it doesn't mean that you're immune to it, because they don't know if you can get immune to it. They don't know if you do get immune. They don't know how long.
Then what's the whole conversation about antibodies?
Well, that's how you know if you've had it.
That's how you know you had it.
If they don't start studying the antibodies, they'll never know if you're going to be immune to it.
Yeah.
So this is just the study they've started.
Yeah.
All right.
They suggested, I know what you're saying, Sean. They suggest that it looks like that there will be an immunity to it, but they don't know yet. They don't know for sure.
Right. Because there are cases of people getting it a second time. So.
Yeah, but then there's also been it's different strains. There's multiple strains of it.
Yeah.
That's a whole different issue too.
I mean, I don't even know how to get into
Italian one is different from the one from China. There's just like
it's mutating.
Yeah.
I mean, but there's different strains of the flu too.
Yeah. I think Jason made a good point when we talked about this a little bit, where he's like, if we didn't have a flu vaccine, these numbers would probably be very similar. The amount of people that die from the flu every year is still a lot, but if we didn't even have a vaccine for it, it'd probably be even higher.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Once a vaccine comes out, then things can start going back to normal, but it's not.
That's not for about another 12 to 18 months is what they were saying.
It's going to be a while. And that's why I was saying, like, once this stuff started, like in March, I was like, oh, this stuff's going to last till June. It's like, I guarantee it. I was like, nothing, stuff like this doesn't happen slow or fast.
No, it's
very,
absolutely
very
happening till June. The reason no one else is saying, like the leaders are saying it's going to be till June, is because if you tell people they're staying in their house till June in March,
they would lose.
They would have been walking into the Michigan State House in March with guns.
Oh yeah.
That's why they haven't said it sooner.
And they are taking.
It was always going to be June.
Yeah, they are taking it
or later.
This is a ever changing thing, but it's like I planned on being locked in for months. I mean, obviously, like it sucks, and I'm consider myself lucky because I can work, but it's if you think this is going to be what's going to be over just by spring, it's kind of a naive thing to think. Now,
hey Chaz, heads up, it is spring, man.